I brought Stephanie to this amazing starting point of our walk around Porto. This city of Porto really is the epicenter of where Portugal as a nation started. We have to go a long way back into history. We had Romans here, then we had Visigoths here, and then in 711 we had the Moors invade, so the Muslims invade, and they took over much of the Iberian Peninsula where Spain and Portugal are. In around 1097, Henry, a French knight from Burgundy, was asked by the monks of Cluny in France to come here and to reclaim this area of the world for the Christians. So he came here, he started a bit of an earldom, and from there his son became King Henry I of Portugal, and gradually they kind of moved their way down southwards, conquering the Moors and creating Portugal as the beginning of the country as we know it today. So this is where it all started. And in fact, because the religious crusade started here, this whole area is kind of viewed in the past as sacred ground, which was why the bishop had most power here. So the bishop was the man in town, and he lived over there in that enormous bishop's palace. That door was just for him.
But no one else?
No one else, no.
You should have one of those.
No, I don't think so. Can you imagine, Camilla, this is my door. No, I don't think it would work that way.
Good luck.
But they had enormous wealth. And just to show that, come and look inside. This cathedral is incredibly ancient, by the way. Started in 1110, so not long after Henry arrived and started to expel the Moors. It's amazing.
That's a lot of gold. They really were using gold to say, we have arrived. I'm speechless. It is so sumptuous. And I'm not so used to it because, let's just say that in our local villages in France, there's a bit less gold in the churches. This is out of this world. Could probably run a small country with just the amount of gold there is on the walls in here.
This gold, a lot of it would have come from Brazil, which is where so much of the wealth of Portugal came from. It's not just the gold for me. I absolutely love the dusky colours. Reminds me a little bit of my house, actually, with the dusky palette.
It is very similar. And I have to say, for me, the paintwork is always more beautiful than the gold in a church. I just love it.
The greens, the pinks, the blues. Absolutely beautiful.
Into the 14th century cloister with its Gothic arcade. It is magnificent, but I think most people who visit it nowadays are drawn not so much to the stunning 14th century arcade, but to the beautiful 18th century tiles. These are seen throughout Portugal. They're called azulejos. The word azulejos actually comes from the Arabic, meaning little stones, because the Arabs were trying to emulate the mosaics of the Roman period, and this was their way of doing it. But once the Christians expelled the Moors, they actually continued to develop the idea of the tiles and the production methods, and it reached an absolute zenith throughout the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th centuries. Here we see the influence of the Dutch, though, because in the late 17th century, the blue Delft tiles started to be imported, and this is what happened. These spectacular scenes in blue and white. This one tells the story of the Virgin Mary wrapping its way all around the cloister. What I find fascinating here is that when you walk upstairs to the upper level of the cloisters, rather than a religious story in the tiles, it's actually Ovid's Metamorphoses. mind-blowingly perfect.
Look at these people, by the way. It does make me smile because everyone's like chilling out under this beautiful statue. But in fact, what it is a hanging post. So those 4 things are to hang 4 people at once. Very efficient. I won't tell them because it might spoil their lunch. It's actually a replica, in fairness. But this is what they used to have back in the day. Efficient hangings.
What an awful thought. Oliver, you know I'd follow you anywhere, but where are you actually taking me?
I wanted to show you across the river.
What a beautiful view from here.
The town of Porto is really a town of 2 halves. So you've got Porto on this side of the river. On the other side, we've got Gaia. So they're joined by 6 bridges, very closely interconnected. Often people kind of sleep over there and commute into work over town on this side. Now, interesting when you think about it, Porto and Gaia. It rings any bells?
Yeah, it's sounding a little like Portugal.
Yes, that's where the name Portugal came from. So the combination of the 2 cities. This is where the country started. Porto and Gaia, Portugal. It started to expand down the north, down south with the retaking from the Moors. And you've got a country.
Oliver,
Yeah.
you're on fire today.
So Steffi, you remember I told you that was sacred ground, Porto,
Yes.
because it's ruled by the bishops, is where the Crusades started. Well, as we go to less sacred ground, we go down the stairs of truth, and let me explain when we get to the bottom. So this is the Escadas de Verdades, I presume. My Portuguese accent is terrible.
Down the stairs of truth I trot after Oliver. This is another adventure.
These walls, by the way, are ancient, 700 or 800 years old. So check out that archway down there, okay? So this is the Arch of Truth. So the saying goes that if I'm on this side, because I'm on religious sacred ground, I must tell you the truth. If I'm on this side of the arch, I can say what the hell I like. So let's try this out.
Okay.
So we are on this side where we do not have to tell the truth. So I'm just going to ask you, Stephanie, since we last met, do you feel that I've put on any weight at all?
Absolutely not.
Do I look as svelte-like and
Thinner than ever before, I would say.
Okay. Right. Come on this side, Stephanie.
I'm still on this side. Technically, I'm still on this side. Can I stay on this side, please?
Stephanie, since we last met, do you think I've put on any weight?
Not in the face.
Shut up. So diplomatic. I love it. You managed to...
It was the truth. I don't like that archway. I find that archway very
Tell
anxious.
you what, though, if you're ever getting a builder's quote or something, bring him here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how much is it going to cost to repave the courtyard?
This is beautiful.
What I love about Porto is it's kind of got this faded elegance, and there are these incredibly beautiful but quite simple houses. So look at this one with the tiles on the side.
Yes, and here there's a date 1903.
Whoa.
And here we're seeing those tiles again, but this time in domestic architecture and on the exterior. They are gorgeous. I'm obsessed. I found my house.
Oh wow, isn't that heavenly?
Senor of Good Fortune. Now that's a title for you. Senor of Good Fortune.
Porto is one of those places where you kind of want to get lost because you just discover little gems like that.
And these tiny
Yeah.
little streets.
These were merchants' houses, so this was a huge trading town. And you can tell they're merchant houses because can you see they've got little hooks at the top under the eaves, there's some there. And that was for hauling up goods and so forth. Look at this one, Stephanie. It says probably dating from the 13th century.
13th century house.
It's a thing, isn't it? It's must have been like in the undercross by the sea.
I think getting towards some lunch places, Ollie. Not that I always think about food. This is gorgeous. That's a happy little pigeon going to find a table. Oh, and we come out into the sunshine after those tiny little dark alleyways. Oh, and the smell. I wish you could smell it. There's the most delicious smell of food.
Amazing.
I'm so happy I can't stop smiling. It's just wonderful.
It's the most beautiful, beautiful town.
Okay, I'm staging an intervention, Ollie. I want to sit here for a bit to soak up the
no drink.
atmosphere. We have a very Portuguese snack. These are little salt cod pastries. I adore salt cod. Now I know I'm truly in Portugal. And this is probably my favourite Portuguese snack. They're lupin seeds.
I had no idea you could eat lupin seeds.
I love them, and of course,
I've grown lupins and missed out on an eating
you
opportunity.
can eat them all. Don't take my word for it. Do check first. But yeah, lupin seeds.
I've had anything like it in my life.
I've never seen anyone eat a lupin seed quite so intently.
I can't get over the fact there's a lupin.
Oh, it's getting your full attention, isn't it?
They're good. They're very good. Macabre. I'm going to start up a sort of crisp packets in the UK. People are going to be munching lupin seeds, and it all started here. I'm going to be a lupin seed entrepreneur. And to be honest with you, this is a good place to start because this was a huge hive of global trade. And again, there's a little bit of historic background to this. So we saw up on the hill by the cathedral how Portugal as a country sort of originated with this religious crusade against the Moors, and gradually people going down from Porto all the way to Lisbon, retaking it and forming the country of Portugal essentially. Towards the end of the 14th century though, while the Moors had gone, the Muslims had gone, the Castilians in Spain were not so happy that this country had emerged called Portugal, and they wanted to take it back. There was a bit of an insurrection, a civil war in 1385, where people rose against the Portuguese king. Juan of Castile, he took advantage of this and decided to invade. So basically Portugal was invaded by what now we would call Spain. Luckily though, for Portugal, there was John of Avis, who was an illegitimate prince, who through all this confusion emerged, took control of an army, and in the Battle of Aljubarrota in 1385, 7,000 Portuguese defeated 20,000 Castilians and Spanish, which obviously I'm very upset about living in Spain now. But nonetheless, that's what's what happened. To seal this victory, in 1386, rather cleverly, John of Avis made an agreement with the British, and it's called the Treaty of Windsor, and it was made in 1386, and it is the longest treaty between two countries of alliance in history.
And it's still standing.
Still standing. So there's this real connection that goes back centuries between Britain and Portugal, helped by the port trade as well. I think alcohol always helped bring people together. The guarantee of independence of this Treaty of Windsor with gave Portugal really was the foundation of a golden age for this country.
So it's this John of Avis that married Philippa of Lancaster?
Yes.
So I knew about that marriage. So this treaty was sealed with a marriage. John of Avis and Philippa of Lancaster. She moved to Portugal.
She was Edward III's granddaughter.
Ah, so she was a Lancastrian, obviously.
Yeah.
You can tell from the name. The clue is all there. And she gave birth to several sons with John of Avis, and they went on to be known in Portugal as the Glorious Generation. But she was actually one of the first royal wives in Portugal to insist on fidelity within marriage, and apparently was seen by all of the courtiers as a bit of a prude because of it. However, she has been eclipsed by her children, the most famous being Henry the Navigator.
So it was under the auspices and the guidance of Henry the Navigator that this tiny country, Portugal, genuinely became a global power. They also were absolutely brilliant shipbuilders, and this was their critical advantage. They had these ships called carvels, which were the kind of fastest ships of their day. They used to be able to go out into the open oceans and do these zigzag routes that could get to places much quicker. So first of all, they went to Africa, Congo, later Angola, Mozambique. There are some very, very tragic aspects of this history around the slave trade, which I won't go into now, but let's just say that those need to be recognised as part of this story. They also discovered, very famously with Vasco da Gama, rather than having to go through the road route, Silk Route, to get to China, they decided to go by boat around the Cape of Good Hope to India. That brought vast wealth from China, from India, spices and so forth. But the absolute killer was in 1500, which was the discovery of Brazil. And that's where so much of the gold that fueled the growth of this small country to be this incredibly rich global power came from. And we're going to go and see some of the buildings fueled by that wealth now, Stephanie.
Well, I feel rested after that pit stop. I am ready to go. Show me the world, Oliver.
This, by the way, is Henry the Navigator.
There he is, in all his half-English glory.
Pointing towards Brazil, I think, not India. I'm trying to think of the direction.
Can you tell the direction just from looking at him?
Well, we know where the sun sets and so forth.
Okay, you've got a clearly better idea of all this than me.
But what we're going in is this building here. This is the Palacio de Bolsa, which basically means the palace of the stock exchange, which is where they did all this trade with all this amazing wealth. It's got a really cool room in it. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
This is spectacular, and all around the top of the very first hall, setting the scene as people come in, are all of the nations that Portugal traded with. Built in the mid-19th century, this stock exchange is absolutely jaw-dropping. It's worth paying the entry fee for the staircase alone. This looks like a spectacular wooden panelled room, but in fact it's made of stucco, plaster, painted to look like wood. And neither is this bronze. Once again, it's a Templo paint technique just onto plaster. But possibly the simple pine floor is what I find most impressive, because this is a single piece of pine. There's never a joint. They're 18-metre long planks, which means that the tree that they were made from had to have been at least 25 metres high and was brought here from Riga. But this room is the masterpiece that Ollie brought me here to see. Hidden away in the stock exchange, it's the most surprising room. Inspired by the Alhambra in Granada, it is undoubtedly the masterpiece of the stock exchange. It's known as the Arab Room, and it was built between 1862 and 1880. Yes, it took 18 years to complete, which is no surprise when you see the sumptuous decoration on every surface. It took 18 kilos of gold just to do the gold leafing.
This room is so beautiful. I feel I've gone to India.
It's a Moorish room with Persian writing. It's just exoticism in the middle of Porto. This is one of my favourite rooms in the world.
It's lovely. So, Stephanie, do you know why this road is called Rua de Flores, as in flowers?
No. Did they have a lot of florists here in the past?
No, well, it did go through the Bishop's Garden at the time, back in the 16th century.
So he didn't let anyone go through his front door, but everyone could wander through his garden?
The bishop at the time had this obsession with St. Catherine, who he thought was an incredible woman. You know how she died? She died on the Catherine wheel, which was a wheel of knives being rolled along, and that's why she was martyred. So it's an incredibly awful death. And what do you see on the side of some of the houses along here? Aha!
No way.
Catherine wheel. And it's not the only one. If you do come to Porto, you come down the street, look out for the Catherine wheels all around.
And you can sound super intellectual like you're doing right now, Ollie. Ollie, there's another one. Look, and that one's got the knives on it.
Yes, that has. Yes.
How gruesome.
And of course, she is celebrated still in the UK with Catherine wheels, which just spin round, look like that.
Fireworks.
Yeah. He actually created a shrine to St. Catherine on this road, such was his adoration of her. But unfortunately, when Napoleonic forces invaded in the early 19th century, they toppled the statue of St. Catherine and she lost her hand, which is a big tragedy. So after that, she's been hidden away in a secret place. Shall I show you?
Yeah, of
You
course.
have to walk back. Are you okay to do that?
Oh, that seems ridiculous. Where's Ollie disappeared to now? This is an art supply shop? What is happening, Oliver?
Well, you know, I said that the poor statue of Catherine was knocked over by the Napoleonic forces.
Yes.
And they put her somewhere safe.
I think we were just looking at the art supplies,
Yes,
which
she
are
is.
lovely.
She's kept nice and safe inside the bookshop. So here she is. Catherine with her hand knocked off, but now kept here away from Napoleonic forces, so she's safe as sound.
Oh, she's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm loving the way you're showing me all these little hidden gems.
Now, this is an incredible restaurant, globally renowned. Mackie D's.
Oliver, I'm sorry. You know I'm partial to McDonald's, but I am not going to McDonald's in Portugal.
No. This is quite possibly the most beautiful McDonald's in the world. Prepared to be amazed. We don't have to eat there. We're going to go and look at it.
We're going into McDonald's for the decor. Okay, already that's a slightly different McDonald's sign to usual. That does not look like Ronald McDonald. Okay, I see what Ollie was talking about.
Nickel.
This is elegant. This is chic. This is the epitome of luxury. I can't believe this is McDonald's.
It is. This is all original features, but look at the counter. Used to be the banking counter, but look at the amazing stained glass behind.
Maybe we should order something.
I think maybe I'll have a Diet Coke then. But nowadays, of course, we can't speak to real people. We have to speak English. Oh, sorry, I meant Portuguese.
All right, Oliver, let's carry on. And by the way, this is not going to cut the mustard for tonight's meal.
We're going to a different place, an authentic place.
Still very much appreciated.
We're in Portugal. I mean, McDonald's, you know, it does hit the nail on the head sometimes.
It hits that spot.
Come on, Stephanie, you can do it.
I'm huffing and puffing.
Oh, we've worked hard today, haven't we?
Can we plan our days without any uphills from now on, please?
I think get a rope that's going to pull you up. But look at that, isn't that beautiful at the end?
The thing is, around every corner is something spectacular. This is a shop that I am very interested in because this is just tinned sardines, which I love and which Portugal is famous for. They started tinning sardines here in the 1860s and there were over 400 canneries in the country. Today that's gone down to only 14, but they're having a real resurgence and becoming incredibly fashionable and popular. So Ollie, let's get some sardines.
Yes.
It's a heaven. It's so beautiful.
Wow.
So many to choose from. Who knew there could be so many?
Are these just all sorts of different types?
These are different fish. So here we have eel, then there's sardines, tuna, so many different types. I think we're going to stick to the classic and go for sardines. They have all of the different years. I don't believe that these sardines were canned on those years. It's actually just telling you something that happened that year. So the decolonisation of the Portuguese colonies in the year of my birth, 1975. Let's see if there's one for filler, 1996. Dolly the sheep was born, becoming the first cloned animal. Well, here we go. That's my sardines. Oh, let's go look for 1974. Shall we?
Yes, gosh, I can't believe you
I was
almost...
about to do, of course.
Is it Carnation Revolution or...
Absolutely. The Carnation Revolution re-establishes democracy in Portugal.
No, I just think mine's the best, I'm sorry.
Also, the year that Leonardo DiCaprio and Robbie Williams were born. And I was born the same year as Tiger Woods, David Beckham and Angelina Jolie.
Gosh.
Good year. Great year.
Stephanie, I do like sardines, but they're not the kind of thing you can, like, snack as you walk along, really, are they? This is more my thing.
The Portuguese custard tarts.
Please, go in.
Well, it's just as Portuguese as the sardines. Portuguese custard tarts are said to have first been created in the 13th century by monks who actually created quite a lot of the best foodstuffs in the Geronimus Monastery in Lisbon. So we'll have to eat them as well when we're in Lisbon, Ollie. We'll just have to keep...
So it's a kind of religious experience for me. Spiritual.
It's going to be. Prepare yourself.
Stephanie, do you see what I see?
I see a lot of custard tarts.
Yeah, but look, I also see port.
Could we have 4 custard tarts?
Yes, for takeaway.
2 Majestic Cafe.
For takeaway, we eat here.
Eat here?
Eat here, I think, yes.
Here?
Thank you.
Port and custard tart. Portuguese heaven.
Marriage made. So I'm going to have the ginger. I don't know what it is. It says ginger, but
It's a ginger liquor.
Is it cherries?
Cherry.
Because that definitely looks more like a cherry.
Oh, yes. This is very civilised, isn't it?
I feel you have a more civilised glass than me, to be fair. Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Here's to Portuguese snacking. I like it.
We can even see them being made in the background, so it doesn't get much fresher than that, Ollie.
Oh, typical to eat custard tart with dignity.
You do everything in an extremely dignified way and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Which side of that truth arch are we on at the moment?
Describe the flavour, Stephanie.
What makes these so good is that aside from being light and creamy in the middle, The pastry, though it's very, very thin, is super crispy and buttery. I'll just let you listen to it.
Sorry about me laughing. I don't know why I found that funny. Let's listen to Stephanie crunching her custard tart. You could just do a whole vlog of you crunching custard tarts on a loop.
Describe it any other way.
No, it was good. It did crunch. One of the most photographed things in the whole of Porto is this tower, the Torre de Clérigos, so the Tower of the Church or the clergy. Baroque, 75 meters high, built in 1763. It's really, really pretty. But my main concern is how are we going to get to the top?
Was the custard tart a way of sweetening me up for this?
It was, because I don't think there's a lift, Stephanie. In fact, I know there's not a lift. Come on, we can do it.
Walkies.
Stephanie, how are your energy levels?
Helped by a custard tart, but apparently it's 197 steps, which does at least mean we'll be working the tart off.
Gosh, that's a lot of steps. Right.
Get stuck up here, we're fine, because we've got a lot of sardines.
Goodness. Sorry about the heavy breathing. I lost Ollie some time ago. I've no idea where he is. I'm exhausted, but satisfied. What a view. You made it. Well done.
I've been up here for 2 hours, haven't you?
Isn't it spectacular, Ollie?
It's lovely.
That sky. Thank goodness for the custard tarts, that's all I can say. The sardines are at risk right now.
Luckily I've got another couple of spare custard tarts in my pocket.
To be fair, we hadn't told everyone that we bought emergency custard tarts for later.
I mean, they're for me, of course.
Oh, I see, both of them are your
And I
emergency
do
custard
feel
tarts.
this is an emergency. It's the port tasting places.
Over on Gaia,
Yeah.
and we're here in Porto.
And that's where we started this morning in front of the cathedral.
What a perfect day with you, Ollie.
Oh, thank you.
Ollie, I'm really glad that I didn't notice what the steps looked like underneath the metal ones that have been superimposed on them before we were going up. That is scary.
Hard work, but well worth it. Honestly, the buildings here, we just mind-blowing. Look at this one. With an Art Nouveau masterpiece just on a side street.
Yeah, doesn't even look as though it's being used.
So you know I like elegant cafes. Well, look at this one.
Oh, that looks more open than the last place you just showed us. Little livelier. Cherubim, always a good sign.
Hey,
Have I mentioned that my feet are killing me? Oh, this is spectacular, Oliver.
what a great city.
What a gem.
Now this is a very touristy place, so we thought we'd just pop in for a drink and then go and eat in some like little local restaurant. But my feet are refusing to walk anymore, so we decided to stay and we've ordered a Francesina each. Now Francesina sounds extremely elegant. In fact, it is a ham, sausage, steak and cheese sandwich that was developed in Porto in the 1950s, apparently based on the Croque Monsieur in France. And in fact, the name Francesina just means a little French woman. So hopefully it'll work for a little half French woman too.
And what are you having to drink, Stephanie?
I'm having a white wine from the Douro Valley, of course, and it's not just recently this has become a bit of a tourist hotspot. It opened in 1922, and a society writer described it as this in the newspaper at the time. It is one of the most noble and luxurious cafes that we know of, for which its name, Majestic, is most suited and justified. Here we have a perfect example of the new and pleasant role of the cafe in our country.
Oh, I love it.
Cheers to that, Ollie.
Cheers.
I think that may officially make us ladies who lunch. Friends who dinner.
I'm happy with that. Friends who dinner. Tell you what though, it might be a place for tourists and it's rather expensive for a sandwich, let's put it that way. But it is really worth it just for the view. We haven't ruined it, it's iconic, it's lovely.
Just a light snack then.
So we've got pasta underneath it. Ooh,
No, I think that's the ham, and this is all the melted cheese.
wow, look at this.
And just in case it wasn't enough, there's the fries. I'm not sure it's our healthiest option so far.
We have just walked up a big tower.
We've done well today. We deserve this. We've earned it. We worked it off in advance. Never before did I know I needed gravy with my sandwich. You wouldn't think it, but it is surprisingly good. That's a contented, satisfied man.
And I think back to the rather lovely hotel room.
Oh, that would be our royal suite, would it, Ollie? I have to say, life is good.
It's turning out okay, isn't it? And again, put our feet up.
Well, I think that the steak, sausage, cheese, ham combo has given me enough strength to walk the few steps to our hotel. Oh, final walk of the day, up the stairs to the
Perfect.
royal suite.
Lift? No?
Genuinely, I'm going up the stairs.
Oh, okay, I'll go upstairs too. You've shamed me. You shamed me. How dare you?
Oliver,
Sorry, ladies first.
what a marvellous sight to come home to. How's the Ollie pod round here?
Very nice, thank you.
Oh, you are here.
Are you
Hello. Oliver, what are you insinuating? Hi, darling.
Hello.
Did you have a nice afternoon with Vivian?
Very much so, thank you.
We had a fabulous time as well, but I am exhausted. I must say, it's very nice coming home and finding you here. Already your last night. Make it count. Poor Oliver. Sorry, Ollie. We will be minding you. I was also laughing at the do not disturb sign.
Yes.
Having an exceptional time.
Well, we've certainly had that today.